Hi guys, Samantha from Jessimo Tutorials here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create a leftover kaleidoscope. So what you're going to need for this tutorial is some leftover clay, and these are 4 bunches of leftover clay that I've chosen to use in this tutorial. And now you'll want these colours to match each other but to be quite different from each other. So once you've got your leftovers separated into their separate piles, you want to take them and pop them into a ball just like this to compact them together all nice and tight, and then you'll want to roll it into a cylinder. Now if you have problems rolling it into a cylinder, just take a little bit of time to compact it together and get out any air bubbles. Just like that. But you basically want a cylinder like that. So you'll do that with all of your other colours, and when we're done we'll come back. Okay, so I finished up the cylinders. So now what we want to do is we want to arrange them in colour groups. So you'll want to decide which one's going to be the top of the triangle and which one's going to be the bottom of the triangle and which ones go in between. So I think that's going to go there, and that's going to go there, and that one can go there, and that one can go there. That's how I want it to be arranged. Okay, now I'm going to squish them flat and compact them together, just like this. So now that they're all together, what we're going to do is we're going to bring over our acrylic roller and we're going to roll it flat, and we're going to run this through the pasta machine. But you want to use your roller first to flatten it out, and this will make your pasta machines work much easier. Okay, just like that. So now I'll bring it to a pasta machine, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be running it through so that I lengthen these colours and not widen them. So I go to my thickest setting, which is a number 7, and lengthen them like that. Now I'm going to take it down to my number 5 and I'm going to lengthen it again. Just like that. See? Okay, then I'm going to take it down to my number 3 and I'm going to lengthen it again. Okay, so that's basically what we want. Nice long sheet. Now you're going to need to trim off these ends that aren't so nice, and then you're going to cut it into segments and lay them on top of each other, just like this. And you'll do that the entire way up the sheet. Just lay them on top of each other like that, so that you end up with strips like that. Okay, so I'll carry on doing that and I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, so we're just about done, and we'll take the leftover piece and just put it back in the scrap pile for a later time. And we'll just pick this up using the blade, and this is what it looks like at the moment. So now you want to decide which side you want to be the middle of your kaleidoscope and which one you want to be the edge. So I want this side to be the middle. So then you'll just flatten this out to get all the pieces together. just compress it all together because you don't want the pieces all falling out on you when you're trying to reduce it. And then you'll start reducing it as a triangle, or start forming it into a triangle. And the way you'll do that is you'll press on the end over here to start forming it into a petal shape. And then you'll rotate it every now and then and press on the other triangles. Now the trick is to do this without distorting the cane. So you want to take it nice and slow. And if you can see that it's starting to distort, just flatten it out so that all the pieces are back together in the right places, and continue to reduce it. And you'll continue to do this until you have a piece long enough to cut out 6 triangles. And that will be what's used for our kaleidoscope. So you can already see that we've stretched it out quite a bit, but we just need to keep a watch on it to make sure that it doesn't, some areas don't reduce faster than others, because that can cause a lot of distortion. But since we've worked with this clay and it's fairly warm, it should reduce quite quickly. So I'll continue to do it just like this until I've got a piece long enough for me to cut out 6 pieces. Okay, so I've reduced it down, and this is what it looks like at the moment. Now, you're going to need to cut this into 6 equal pieces, but before we do that, we need to cut off these distorted ends. Now I'll just show you what the cane looks like at the moment. So just check the ends, and if you can still see a bit of distortion, you're going to need to carry on cutting up the length of the cane until you've reached the place where there's no more distortion, because this is a kaleidoscope and you really don't want any distortion. Okay, so now I'm going to bring over my Kato marks it, and what I'm going to use this for is to make sure that I create 6 equal pieces. So I'll just lay this on top, and I think I need to squish this a bit because it's a little too long. And you can use a ruler as well. A ruler works just as well. Okay. And I want to cut this into 6 pieces. So then I'll press it down onto the marks, onto the tool, and what that will do is, because this has ridges on it, so it will show me exactly where I need to cut. So I'm going to face this towards me so that I can see what I'm doing. And I'll cut it exactly where it shows I need to cut. Okay. Now we need to do what we usually do with a kaleidoscope and create a mirror image, and check both sides to make sure that they both line up, just like that. And this is a little different compared to normal kaleidoscopes, as you have seen, but it basically has the same ending. You need to make sure that it lines up perfectly, otherwise it doesn't really work. So So just take a little bit of time to make sure that you do that properly, and always check both ends. Okay, then once you've got it together, you're going to want to compress these pieces together. So the way I like to do it is I like to rest it on the tile like that, and then press on it with my 2 fingers, rotate and press, and repeat over and over again. And this is how I like to reduce it. Now I can also take my fingers and press up against the flat edges, and that will also squish the pieces together, because you need to make sure that they're properly bonded together, otherwise when you cut this it will come apart and it won't look so good. And also you might not want your kaleidoscope that big. This is the best way I found to reduce a kaleidoscope. Okay, so you can see it's quite easy to do. And then when you want to cut it, you can take your roller and use your roller to flatten out these edges, and this will give you a squarer look. So it will square up those edges and make it look better. And before you cut this with any normal blade, you want to let it rest, because as you can see, as I'm rolling it, it's quite soft. And this is because we've been working with it quite extensively for the last, I don't know, about 20 minutes. And this is something that you'll want to do with every single cane that you do. You want to let it rest before you cut it. So I'm going to let this rest, and then we can come back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so it's been cooling down for a little while. Now I'm going to take my Lucy clay blade, which is super sharp, and so it's the best one to cut a cane while it's still raw, while it's still warm. And I'll just cut this one down, and that one wasn't so good because I didn't get the center. And each time you cut the kaleidoscope, you're going to want to square it up again. Okay, and we'll cut again. Okay, there we go, we got quite a nice slice out of that one. So I'll just bring this up and show you what it looks like. And the way it was reduced, it kind of looks like a flower. Just brighten this up so you can see what it looks like. So that's basically what a leftover kaleidoscope looks like. Now I've got 2 other examples, and I'll bring those over, and here's one of them. So this one, as you can see, looks quite different, and it really does depend on what colours of clay you're using and what shape your cylinders were in the beginning and how you reduced it. It really does dictate how the pattern looks at the end. So that's one. Here's another one. You can see this one again looks different from the other one in shape. And it's also because of, well, what colours you're using, which colours you chose to be the middle and which ones you chose to be the edge. So this is one of those techniques that's a little bit more random than the proper kaleidoscope that you use with canes. But I still think it's a great technique for using up your leftovers, as you can use these now for whatever you want, really. So I've got 3 leftover canes over there that I've used. And so I do hope that this video was helpful to you, and if it was, please do check the links below, as there'll be links to more tutorials like this one. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please do check the links below, as there'll be a link to my website jessymatutorials.com, where you can find articles and places where you can send in pictures of what you've done using my techniques, and all sorts of other things that I'm sure you'll find helpful that I can't put on YouTube. So I do hope to see you around. And if you're watching this on my website, please do check below the video, as there will be links to suggested videos, and there'll also be a form down there where you can send in your own leftover kaleidoscopes, and I look forward to seeing what variations you have of this wonderful technique. So I do hope to see you in the next video, and bye for now.